The 1950s were the golden age of America's mechanical dream. Highways stretched endlessly across the land, and long distance buses became symbols of freedom and progress. From New York to the California coast, Americans eagerly boarded these machines to watch their country unfold through wide panoramic windows. In that atmosphere, while giants like GM and ACF Brill ruled the roads, a small company from Ohio quietly nurtured an ambitious dream. They wanted to build a bus unlike any other, modern, elegant, and carrying the spirit of the jet age. The Flxible Visicoach was a bus that came from a vision of steel, glass, and American ingenuity reaching towards the future. No one could have imagined that this creation would leave such a lasting yet mysterious mark on American automotive history. A story both brilliant and forgotten, slowly fading with time. Long before the Flxible Visicoach was born, few knew that the company's story dated back to the early 20th century. Founded in 1913 in Loudonville, Ohio, Flxible began by crafting ambulance and limousine bodies with an uncommon level of precision. The name Flxible, intentionally dropping the E from flexible, was chosen for trademark purposes. Yet, it perfectly captured the company's spirit of originality and engineering pride. After World War II, as America entered the booming age of speed, travel, and the new interstate highway system, Flxible saw an opportunity. They no longer wanted to remain a small-town builder. Their goal was to challenge giants like General Motors and ACF Brill head-on. But rather than imitate Flxible Flxible chose a different path to create a bus that embodied the jet age itself, sleek, elegant, and visionary. At first glance, the Flxible Visicoach was breathtaking. In an era when most buses were boxy and utilitarian, this one looked like it had rolled straight out of the future. With smooth flowing lines, sweeping chrome trim, and panoramic glass panels wrapping around its sides, it embodied the language of the jet age, when cars, aeroplanes, and even household appliances were sculpted with aviation-inspired styling. The Visicoach had a beautifully curved roof, rounded tail fins, and a nose that looked like it was built for speed. A bold chrome band ran across its body, catching the sunlight like a ribbon of motion on the highway. But what really set it apart was its panoramic window system. The curved glass went from shoulder line to rooftop, giving passengers an unmatched view of America in motion, which was a rare luxury in the early 1950s. Some prototypes even had a clear plexiglass roof, so riders could, instead of using a traditional ladder frame, Flxible welded high-strength panels into a single rigid structure, reducing overall weight by nearly 15% compared to GM's PD4103. This made the Visicoach not only lighter and more efficient, but also sleeker and more cohesive in form. Stepping inside the Flxible Visicoach felt more like boarding a luxury aircraft than a long distance bus. Every detail was crafted to evoke comfort, modernity, and pride, emotions deeply tied to America's optimism in the early 1950s. Seats were upholstered in thick fabric or soft premium leather, arranged in a 2+1 layout that gave passengers space and privacy. Along the ceiling, soft dome lights cast a warm golden glow, while thin curtains, chrome-trimmed windows, and polished vinyl floors created an atmosphere of refined mid-century design. Flxible equipped the Visicoach with a semi-automatic ventilation and air conditioning system, ensuring a gentle breeze throughout the cabin, a rare innovation for its time. Many passengers said it felt like they were floating in the wind as they glided down Route 66. On long trips, the hum of the engine mixed with music from the front radio. Some models even had individual speakers so travelers could listen to music or news the whole time. The smell inside, a mix of new leather, steel, and cool air, gave the impression of understated luxury. But what really set the Flxible Visicoach apart wasn't the curtains or the golden glow of its dome lights. It was what was hidden beneath its shiny steel body. Inside its Monaco frame was an ambitious piece of engineering, where Flxible put all its faith in American mechanical ingenuity. At its heart were massive diesel engines, the Hallcott 190 or Cummins HB600, which displaced between 740 and 855 cubic inches. These huge inline-six power plants were known for their tremendous torque and near bulletproof reliability. They could propel the 13-ton Visicoach down the highway at a steady 60 mph, an impressive achievement for its time. Its most distinctive trait was the mid-nine layout, almost unheard of in civilian coaches back then. This design provided even weight distribution, enhanced cornering stability, and reduced cabin noise. Flxible engineers designed a boxed cradle for the engine to cut vibration and improve cooling efficiency, a solution born from pure craftsmanship. The Visicoach paired this setup with a Fuller or Spicer 5-speed manual gearbox, giving drivers fine control over torque and fuel economy. The clutch was heavy once it was engaged, but the coach glided so smoothly that drivers often said it felt like floating on air. Flxible pushed innovation even further with a semi-automatic air suspension system, a technology that would not become common for decades. It maintained consistent ride height and absorbed road imperfections gracefully, keeping passengers comfortable no matter the load through its powerful engines, welded monocoque body, and pioneering suspension. The Flxible Visicoach. In its first year, the Visicoach quickly caught the attention of major carriers such as Continental Trailways, Lakeshore Coach Lines, and Santa Fe Trails Transportation. Newspapers hailed it as the most luxurious bus ever to travel America's highways. Trade magazines like Bus Transportation and Modern Mechanics praised it as a bold step forward in design and public transport engineering. Beyond its looks, the Visicoach impressed both drivers and passengers with its smoothness and quietness. With more than 1,000 units built in its first production run, Flxible seemed to have achieved the dream it had nurtured since the end of the war, turning a daring idea into reality and putting Loudonville, Ohio, on the map of American industry. However, it was a technological marvel that had the flaws that come from being too advanced for its time. The first problem was scale. Flxible was a small company in Loudonville, Ohio, while GM operated huge automated assembly lines and a nationwide logistics network. Each Visicoach was almost hand-built, which made production costs up to 20% higher than its competitors. For bus operators, the choice between GM's efficiency and Flxible's craftsmanship was clear. The second problem was maintenance and parts. The unique monocoque body, curved glass panels, and air suspension system of the Flxible made repairs difficult. Local garages didn't have the parts or the knowledge to fix them. Replacement parts had to be sent directly from the Ohio plant, which was expensive and took a long time. Then GM's PD414 came out, an aluminum body bus that was lighter, easier to service, and more fuel efficient. GM's practicality won over the market, even though it wasn't as beautiful as the Visicoach. Transport companies quickly realized that beauty alone couldn't sustain profit. By the middle of 1955, Flxible was hit hard when hundreds of Cummins HB600 engines needed to be replaced early because they were overheating. The company had to pay for the warranty costs itself, which wiped out almost all of its profits. Even though they tried to improve the design, sales fell as operating costs rose. In 1956, Flxible quietly stopped making the Visicoach. There were no press releases, no big farewell, just silence. A technological icon that was once thought to be the future of behind the modest factory doors in Ohio, Flxible engineers continued experimenting with several remarkable prototypes. Ideas far ahead of their time, yet never destined for mass production. The most ambitious of these was a diesel-electric hybrid version developed in collaboration with Westinghouse. Designed to reduce fuel consumption and boost highway efficiency, it used a small diesel engine to power a generator that drove an electric motor on the rear axle. a concept decades ahead of its time. Flxible also tested full-glass roof panels and modular skylights that let passengers look at the stars while crossing the western deserts. Even though these features were beautiful, they were too complicated and expensive to make. After Flxible's last tests were over, the Visicoach didn't disappear right away. For years, it continued to travel on America's highways, faithfully carrying passengers across the open landscapes that defined the country. People who used to ride behind its sweeping glass still remember how the sunset reflected off its chrome trim. To them, the Visicoach wasn't just a bus. It was the embodiment of a country expanding mile by mile, where freedom, speed, and ambition merged into the heartbeat of a new century. Its image appeared on travel postcards, trailways, advertisements, and even in motion pictures. It came to symbolize America on the move, a nation forever pressing forward. For many Americans, that curved roof and panoramic glass became part of their summer memories, along with the hum of AM radio and the endless wind of Road 66. As the Viso fleet gradually disappeared, nostalgia grew stronger. Collectors began hunting for surviving shells, restoring every detail, from the chrome emblems to the panoramic glass panels. Some were transformed into classic motorhomes, while others became traveling exhibits displayed in museums across California, Ohio, and Texas. Today, only about 25 Flxible Visicoaches remain in existence. Fully restored examples can sell for between $80,000 and $120,000, depending on how original and well-maintained they are. But for fans, their true value isn't in money, but in memory. Each Visicoach is a living reminder of a time when America thought the future could be built from steel, glass, and the endless road ahead. If you've ever seen a Flxible Visicoach, ridden an old inner-city bus, or just love the feeling of watching metal and history tell their stories, please share your memories in the comments below. Every story you tell keeps the spirit of this era alive, making sure that legends like the Visicoach will never fade away. And if you're passionate about forgotten machines, engines, and the people who built America's mechanical dreams, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell, because right here, we'll keep uncovering the masterpieces that once amazed the world, bringing back to life the sounds, sights, and spirit of the open road that defined a generation.